Transformation as a word is not easy, and AI and ML is not going to help you transform. Transformations happen when there is a vision, and the vision is the culture that you build. Part of executing that culture will be by deploying some of the tools, but it has to start with culture. If we need to transform experience, we have to know why are we transforming experience, why is this a buzzword, why are we all in the room. If we have to transform experience, it is not because that is what everybody else is doing. It is because our customers are changing and the consumption patterns are changing. So India is changing. The Gen Z customers are technology first. They are value conscious and they are constantly comparing before purchasing or before taking a decision. Because this is changing, we have to also transform the businesses that are catering to the future customers. There's Bharat and there's India. But a recent study found that they are buying different mobile phones, but the process of buying is pretty identical. They are going, they are getting the set of names from their friends, family, influencers, but the process of choosing in which they are using technology to aid their decision making is almost identical. So, whichever way they are using the same methods to reach the same conclusions. Of course, they are buying diametrically different phones. A few years back, when we needed to train on customer experience, our benchmarks would be, specifically foreign banks, I'm a banker, would be to send somebody to a 5-star hotel, because the service officer has never had that level of experience that he or she can offer it to the customer. For branch managers who were new and they have never flown before, it would be necessary part of training that they take a jet airways flight, because then they go through the experience to know this is how their customers are usually treated, and thus when they come to the branches, they are also identically treated. That is not the case. We know the food techs, we know the e-tailers, and now the average Indian is used to high levels of customer experience even when they are buying one gulab jamun or one product worth 150 bucks. Lastly, this is more for retailers and retailers. The point of sale has completely transformed, and the transparency and the instant feedback loop is what is now driving our business, and real-time customer insights are available here. If these 4 consumption patterns are how India is changing and how our customers are changing, how we need to transform our businesses to cater to these changing needs of customers are what AI and ML help us. So let me talk of banking. Banks are built on trust. Traditionally, if you see a bank, you will see a branch. Till now, at my age, somebody asks me, where are you working? I say, Kotak Mahindra Bank. Now they ask a level 2 question, which is investment banking or otherwise, and I say retail banking. And the answer is what branch? Sometimes I get frustrated and ask my husband that do I still look like a cashier in a branch? That they ask me what branch. But that is not the insight. How customers perceive banks is by branches, and they think the BM is the highest they can reach in the branch hierarchy network. So trust traditionally has meant branch banking in a lot of us in this room parlance, not so more. 98% of transactions now happen digitally for most banks. So transparency and shifting the trust into transparency, and I would like to define transparency as not, I have informed you my schedule of charges or I keep you informed. I think transparency now is a consistent mode of communication to the customer that is expediency comes across. The second is obviously the proliferation of feedback loops. Customer pleasure as well as displeasure gets instantaneously communicated. And as organizations, you can be responsive to it, or you can choose to be empathetic to it. You can be both. If you have to do all of this, how do you do it? The human brain capacity or the ability to engage or empathize is not going up. Thus, the need for ML. What is ML? You know, I'm sure a lot of engineers in the room. I would like to take the EQ definition of ML and say that it is basically taking customer behavioral patterns, marrying it or juxtaposing it with the demographics of the customer. And then the second part of it is looking at people like us data or cohort data and then seeing how do this give the next best option for the customer. Now, I have a question here from somebody who says how to ensure consistent, reliable and high quality service delivery. Well, on the left is what you have, and these are typical matrices that everybody in this room will be familiar with, which is customer expectations when either we have used a call center or we run a call center. Is when I call the company, I don't get put on hold, and then how do you design it? You put it in average speed of answer. I can take care of my problem in one call, question is answered, and there are enough knowledge management tools that inform the officers on how they do it. Reps are knowledgeable and help with as few transfers as possible. Nobody likes getting transferred to SMEs, so maximum one transfer per call, and follows through all the tag measures, long tails, etc. that we have. Solution during the call. If not solution and I take a service request, ensure that it's done. Now, efficiency design principles are how we build our businesses, how we show our KRAs at the end of the year, saying this is how I build efficiency. Now, if you have to transform efficiency to effectiveness, that is where ML will come and play a major role. Everything in the previous efficiency slide refers to explicit issues that the customer told you during the call. So first contact resolution, all of us know this, it's sometimes called first time right, it's called FCR. You address the issue that the customer has called for. Where ML helps you is something that you will hear a lot of in the coming years, NIA, next issue avoidance. Remember what I showed you? That it takes the customer demographics and behaviors and then it marries the cohort data and tells you that if this customer called you for a query, let's take an example, customer called me and said I'm unable to log into net banking, can you help me with online password generation? Traditional method is customer called me for that, I resolve the issue, so it's first contact resolution. Customer might forget, customer is not getting the link, so I say, okay, how do I create efficiencies on the current call? I will have a WhatsApp complemented conversation with the customer in which later she can refer back to the WhatsApp. It's one and done, success is measured, and then what is the wrap-up statement? Are you able to log in now? Where CX deployment helps, and all this money that we are spending is actually for cost reduction and more effective service. Now come to this. This is a customer who's logging into net banking. That is not the means or the end. The customer is logging into net banking is to do a transaction. What is that transaction? Has she done it before? So if you just probe in the call and say that, is it to what are you logging into net banking for? Customer says, I need to transfer money to my business vendor. Okay, is it a beneficiary you have created before? The customer says, yes, it's done. It takes additional 7 seconds of average handling time, but you know the customer's used your system, the customer knows what he or she is doing, and it's done. This is the part where analytics and ML will help. I will plot to the officer that customers who usually call identify that, and you don't need a lot of agents with time and experience anyway intuitively know this and they do it. The idea is consistent, reliable service if you have to give and transform your business CX, then this is how your system needs to help. The success from one and done needs to move to repeat call reduction and cost reduction. And then the wrap-up statements then change to the next issue avoidance and not closure of this one. So the second point is more about AI. And there are 4 ways in which we see the 4 transformations in the way customer experiences are changing, customers are changing into voice, video, vernacular, mobile phones. All of us have got this. I'm going to talk about voice in a little more detail today and say how is voice changing in India. Now all of us have either used IVRs or have designed and deployed IVRs, interactive voice recorders, or run IVRs. We all know the problems of IVRs. There are no conclusions. You make a lot of self-service notes, but somewhere the customer loses it. And the third is the emotional, how a customer talks. Most customers are calling from your mobile phones. The minute you tell the customer now press, the phone then comes down and there is a voice loss there. And then you're asking the customer to multitask. The effort on part of the customer is much higher when you are telling the customer to use IVR, and current IVR trees are actually non-intuitive. And look at the options, we all know this, we have all been recipients of it. This is some of the VOC around IVRs. The most interesting one is the bottom left one. The menu options are so complex, I don't even know where to start. Typically because channels and products somewhere come in, and I think IVRs have also gone through a whole range of stuff. Having said that, somewhere the IVR needs to change. If IVRs need to change, there are a whole host of IVRs that you can look at. So there is easy IVR, there is easy navigation in which you are using data to nudge the customer, input the least possible digits to recognize who is calling and how can I address. And let me take a little time for personalized. You called before the IVR recognizes you. Predictive IVR, for those of us who have used travel bookings, it is you did the booking didn't come through, so thus are you calling for this? That's a predictive nature. And then the best in class is the bot one. Now all of us have used Alexas and Siris, and we know that is not optimal. How many times we have to repeat, and we now speak to Alexa in a certain way so that I know this is how Alexa, this is low effort on my part. Alexa volume 7. Hands up, how many of you talk to Alexa like that? Exactly, right? So now, Alexa is not listening to me, I am listening to Alexa. Yeah, that's how it is. You know, the reality is like this. There are benefits, okay? Despite us telling Alexa volume 7, it means there are benefits that I'm getting from Alexa that I'm still listening to music through her. So there is the quickness, the optimization, and the language identification is, I think, where most of this is there, and the real-time integration of the voice bot to the use cases that a customer is calling you for. There are 2 major ways, you know, ASR and NLP. You've all heard the terms, but these are the large ways in which voice bots work. A digital-first customer experience and transformation will actually happen when you deploy this to finally get what you want. The bank of the future, it is for me. It is not for a lot of people and I am part of them. No, it is for me. It is when I want to access my bank. If today I reach Mumbai at 10:30 in the night and I need to do a transaction and I need the bank to be responsive to me, then that's what it is, where I want it. And lastly is I want my bank to be caring about me. Since Swati gave me these questions and I went through a few of them, I would like to also answer them. I think 2 questions are how to design an effective service strategy And another related one is how to expand the business using service as a strategy. Honestly, that is time for another day. Service strategy is a whole different presentation. I'm not going to cover it. How to ensure consistent, reliable and high quality service delivery. I think I've covered some of it. My only input here will be a lot of our matrices are very efficiency focused. And important that we also have VOC matrices, but important to move to effectiveness and the next set of matrices to have the high quality consistency that you're looking at. One of the questions is customer experience is more of perception than customer carries. What framework and tools can be leveraged beyond customer survey and feedback mechanism? After many years in this industry, I can tell you there are no shortcuts to customer experience. And I saw the Lenovo presentation and I was thinking identical journeys. Almost every organization who manages to do this is there. It is sheer hard work. So you will get a score. The score will tell you nothing. You will have to go back and then go and read the verbatims. And you have to classify verbatims. That will give you a 2 on 10 or a 3 on 10. After the 2 on 10 and 3 on 10, you actually have to go and call your customers and say, when you wrote this, what did you do? Where did it fail you? Which part of it failed you? And that is where the real insights will come. For all the ML and AI that you deploy in your system, it has to marry with the insights that a customer is looking for. And in our bank, we actually stopped episodic TNPS after a customer accessed a vault. You know why? Because 3 customer verbatims out of 1,200 said, is the bank monitoring me that I went to the vault? And all episodic TNPSs we continued except for the vault, because the vault is the point where the customer doesn't want the bank to know what was I doing inside the system. Yeah. So that. And lastly, somebody specifically asked on bots that customers seek real time, but bots and FAQs only can go to a certain extent, and customers are left wandering on their own to queries. Absolutely. Your takeaway from this cannot be the bot and it's over. Where does the bot deployment help you? It helps you first of all to get the customer in and get the initial intent of why the customer has called you. You will have to then build the self-service modes, and every bot needs to have a way out where if the customer, should the customer choose to go to a human interaction and then understand the problem or answer multiple queries which could be in the customer's mind, then you have to allow for that option. One way digital has transformed, in which all of us have felt it, is most of us now use the self-service kiosks in hotels rather than the long queues, right? And that is the way India's changed, because till about 6-7 years back, a lot less queries and we would go, right? So where you have to see is how do I make it easy for the customer where they don't want to stand in line and speak to somebody or get assisted by a